We've addressed this only a couple times since our documentary came out. The first music played at a scoring session that we attended was something
the secret score. The secret score.
I think it was the first cue, or it might have been the second cue.
This is the first session.
Everyone has asked, if you go to our YouTube page now, the trailer for Score a Film Music Documentary, you'll have people saying, what is that track at the end of the trailer? And we ended up putting it in the movie as well. It's when John Debney says, playing in front of all these musicians is like seeing your child being born for the first time. And it's like one of those little moments that's kind of always gave me goosebumps, even when we saw this movie hundreds of times in editing and at different theaters and film festivals. But the movie that John Debney was scoring in that scoring session was SpongeBob. And this was just a little stretch.
Sponge out of water.
Yes.
A masterpiece.
SpongeBob 2, Sponge Out of Water.
Working with the live musicians, that's what I live for. Standing on the podium and giving a downbeat to a piece of music that you spent a long time crafting and hearing it for the first time, I guess it's like seeing your child for the first time being born. The joy, the emotion of what that is, it's really everything to me.
And this was a little piece of music that was maybe a minute long, even if that. It might have been 45 seconds long. And I remember hearing this starting to be played, and we may have actually missed the first take of this. And then the second time it was like, be sure you're rolling. And we had 3 or 4 or 5 cameras in the scoring session at the time, and didn't even have proper microphones. So this is the in-room audio that we were using. Through the cameras, it might have been. And because some of that stuff we tried to record and it was so blown out. We put a microphone right in front of the brass section and it was just, it was unusable.
There's a good sound.
God.
Sorry about that. So, but anyway, the music
authentic.
started to play and it was just really impactful. So it ended up being used in the movie. And a year or two ago, I went back and I think I might have actually purchased the movie to see where that track ended up living in this movie.
It's buried.
It's so buried under
It's
other
buried.
sound effects and
It's
characters talking, and it's
it might
so
be the
fast.
biggest
They trimmed it,
waste
too.
of a great cue. Biggest
Yes.
waste of a great cue I think I've ever seen. I mean, I don't have a knowledge of the history of this, but that cue is so amazing. And when you watch the film and it's like, they're like, hey, come over here. And it's like,
Patrick, we're going to the... Yeah.
it's so quiet and it lasts, it is trimmed. I think it's cut in half. And I remember thinking, I am so glad that we were able to highlight that a little bit. But it is, yeah, you're right. It's funny. All the comments early on when we were put out the first trailer, everyone would ask us the question and we would just like the post. It became like the funny joke among us.
We answered it, I think, the first time that someone asked that, and then we kept getting it. So that was the point where we're like, all right, we're just going to see where this goes and not answer.
Well, it's because the reason is that song isn't Shazamable. It's not, it doesn't get recognized by anything. So
Right.
even though it's part of a film score, I don't know if it's, the cue's not on any soundtrack or anything that got released, so you can't search it. But someone eventually emailed us and they're like, I figured out what the cue is. And I don't know how that person figured that out, because even if you watch the movie, it's really hard to identify that cue. But yeah, that's...
I know we had one shot in the feature film where you could see the screen and you could see a early animatic of SpongeBob and Patrick. So they would have cross-referenced that with the date or something else. I mean, you still would have had to go through the whole movie to try to find it. But so somebody
there's also,
did that.
I will say too, there's also another shot. I think it's when Hator is scoring, and we show a piece of sheet music, and it's actually from the Debney scoring, and it says SpongeBob on the paper.
Oh,
We needed a shot of just generic, film music
these are the
as a
continuity
cutaway.
errors that I didn't catch.
Yeah. But if you look hard, you could figure it out. But yeah, that was a big mystery for a long time. But